How accessible is Champion Awakening in Raid Shadow Legends? That is going to be the topic of today's video. Awakening, of course, is Champion Ascension 2.0. You get your champion, you first ascend them to rank 6 ascension. That's pretty much the fundamental aspect of building your champions ever since the game has ever come out like 4 years ago. And now you have Awakening, where you can basically turn that purple star into a red star, but you have to do it through souls and through acquiring those souls through the Soul Stone system and the Soul Forge system. So we've had this in the game now for about 12 to 18 months. I'm not sure exactly which patch it came in, but it's been in the game for a while. And when it came out, a dungeon was released with it, the Iron Twins, and then they eventually added stones in other places. Now, when I did my first analysis on this system, I exclusively looked at the opportunity and odds of you getting stones exclusively from Iron Twins, which is good to some extent for evaluating how many souls you can get in a period of time, because obviously everyone wants to know, how difficult is it going to be to be able to get those tier 3 stones. But what I didn't do is take into account other sources that they've added over time where you can actually acquire stones. So that is going to be the topic of this video. But before we get into that, I want to thank our sponsor for this video, Bloodlines Hero of Hellhades. It is a fun game that I've been playing. Let's check it out. So thanks to Bloodline Hero of Hellhades for sponsoring today's video. Bloodlines is a dark fantasy RPG game with some of the most unique mechanics I've ever played in a game that is a hero collector and gacha game. You can craft your own unique legendary champions using their ear system. It is fully free to play and you can download from the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code that is on screen right now to start playing today. I play Bloodlines on my iPad next to my main PC and it looks amazing. It's got 3D graphics, all of my legendary heroes have unique designs, and it looks really, really cool. What is unique about Bloodlines Heroes of Hellhades is the ability for you to marry any bloodlines and create unique combinations of legendary hybrids. These hybrids will carry the traits and the unique appearances of their parents. There are over 4,000 different combinations that you can have fun with and create your own unique legendary hero. The game is constantly updated with new bloodlines introduced and new features constantly added every fortnight to the game. One of the best looking clans in the game are the Daivala. These are one of my favorites. They are ruthless assassins that were cursed in a ritual for an insatiable thirst for blood. They are vampires and they look amazing. There's also rewarding late game PvP where you can earn some very unique legendary heroes, Bloodcraft Legends, through the seasonal guild wars. I also enjoy that I have to build up my kingdom, raise my heirs, and there are some very interesting and compelling storylines that go alongside your hero collection activities. I'm having a lot of fun playing the game, and if you want to play today, you can download it for free now on Android or iOS. You can use the link in my description or scan the QR code above. If you use my link, you will get yourself a free starter pack worth $20, and that will give you a summoning crystal, it will give you 100,000 gold, and it will give you 100 diamonds. And if you're one of the first 30 people who comment in my pinned comment of this video, you'll also get a free female succubus champion, the Luxuriant, who is one of the best mages to carry you throughout the game. So thanks to Bloodlines for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in Hellhades. Okay, let's get back into this now. Let's have a look at what we're talking about here. So most people will know that if you come into this dungeon here, you have Iron Twins. You can see I've got 5 keys left. This is the primary source where you can get yourself Mortal Soul Coins and Mortal Soul Essence. Essentially, souls are acquired from 2 sources, 3 sometimes, primarily 2. You either convert your sort of coin that you get from Iron Twins into Mortal Soul Stones, and then you basically summon Mortal Soul Stones to make Immortal Soul Stones, Immortal Soul Stones to make Eternal Soul Stones. It's a sort of a tiered system. You unlock more the more that you summon. That's kind of like one way that you can get souls, but obviously the opportunities and odds is basically like shard pulling. The other way is obviously through the Soul Merchant. You can save up your essence, you can sell souls that you have acquired for champions you don't want, and then you can go and buy specific split souls. We have perfect souls, which only are summoned from the actual summoning forge. When you summon these, you always get a perfect soul, which means it always takes it to the highest star of that particular soul, whether it's 4-star, goes straight to 4. Split souls will only ever give you to the requirement that you have here. So the way the market will work is essentially, if you've got a 1-star Broadmoor, it will give you a 2-star Broadmoor. It's a progression based. When it comes up, you can start working towards that higher awakening. So we have those 2 primary forms. The third one that tends to happen is they will sometimes put an actual soul in a tournament or event. It doesn't happen every day of the week. It happens every couple of months. We so far have had Razzlevarg, Artak, Ultimate Death Knight, and Uko souls. Those are the kind of champions they kind of prioritize and focus. They tend to do it to either a 5 or a 4-star awakening. But what I really want to cover in this video, and it's something I've been covering for the last 30 days, is we know the odds and drop rates of the Iron Twins. We know that it requires energy. We know how much you're going to get. If you just focus on Iron Twins, it's actually a pretty poor return. We'll have a look at the math and sort of refresh in our memory how much you actually get just from Iron Twins. Because a big question that people ask me is Iron Twins worth farming? Is it worth the energy? Is this the best place to get it? So we're going to have a look at that. You also get stones from Hydra. Hydra is a very popular way of getting soul stones now because every single chest will give you a variety of 1, 2, 3, depending on the quality of the chest, of these tier 1 stones. And you can obviously get 2 of these chests. So on average, you kind of can walk away with a fair amount of stones from this system here as well. So those 2 places are pretty easy to do opportunity probabilities on. We can do math on it because we know how much they're in there. We know the odds of getting each individual odds. We can basically reverse engineer a time frame of how often it takes to get different things. So what I wasn't tracking was how much was actually being given to us through events and tournaments. So you can see now there's a Dungeon Divers on today. We're getting 750 Mortal Soul Stones. We're getting an Immortal Soul Stone at the end of this as well. You will probably be doing these 750 Mortal Soul Coins if you're going for the Panda Fusion, because you need to get to 3,700. Unless you summon the Epic, of course, and then you can skip the Dungeon Divers or the Artifact Enhancements if you want. You can see on the Summon Rush, we've got a Mortal Soul Stone. We've got Eternal Soul Coins. We've got Essence. We've got Eternal Soul Stones. Pretty much every event or dungeon that they put, there's some sort of aspect of the reward that gives you a Mortal Soul Coin. So in small pockets and assessments, you think, well, 200, if we look at this, this champion training, 1 stone is not that crazy. But over a period of, say, 30 days, how many do we actually get from events? How much are we actually getting from Iron Twins? Where is the primary way? What is the best way to get access to this soul system? And that is the topic of this video. That is what we're going to be covering here. So let's first have a look at what is the odds and probability from both Hydra and Iron Twins, because we already have this math nailed down. So some months ago, I did this Excel spreadsheet. I've updated it since then with a few extra bonuses that we get, which basically calculated the odds that you of getting stones from the Iron Twins and from Hydra. The goal of this was to basically work out how long would it take us to get to a Eternal Soul Stone, basically the stone that we all care about, because that's where you get rank 5 and rank 6 champions guaranteed. It's the Sacred Shard of the Soul system. I'm not going to go into full detail because this would be a video on its own, but you can go watch that video to understand the breakdown a little bit more. I'll put the video around about in the card at the top left here so that you can actually watch it in full. But the summary now is essentially if you want to get a tier 3 stone, an Eternal Soul Stone, just by farming Iron Twins and Hydra, it's going to take you about 2 years. That's if we ignore selling any souls or any events or anything else like that. Just farming Iron Twins and the Hydra. It takes you about 2 years, because in order for you to get enough Eternal Coin to buy the Eternal Soul Stone, you need 1,000 of that Eternal Soul Coins. In order to get that, you need to summon 10 tier 2 stones, Immortal Stones. That gives you 300 per temple. So you need 4 of those temples, because you can't get like a third of a temple. You have to do it in batches of 10. So you need to basically have summoned sort of 4 of those. Then that will give you 1,200 coins. But in order for you to get the tier 2 stones, you have to summon the tier 1 stones. It's a tiered system. So it works out roughly that you need 50 tier 1s to make 1 tier 2. And then you need 33.33 if you were doing the math, tier 2s to get 1 tier 3. So when you reverse engineer these numbers, you end up with about 1.93 years. That's how long it takes by just playing those 2 game modes to be able to get to that mark. Now, obviously, selling souls is a big factor here. If you get lucky with some of those tier 1s, then you can sell them for a lot of those other coins to supplement it. That's very difficult to kind of work out. We could probably do the math in another video on the probabilities from 70 stones. What is the average sell rate if you sold every single one of them? And then we can work out the math there. That's probably a good exercise to do. But in this video, I actually want to add in acquisition across all aspects of the game. So a fundamental principle Raid seem to be putting into the game right now is play to earn, and then you need to earn to play. Now, what I mean by that is their justification for some of these dungeon drop rates is we give you loads of rewards in the events, right? We've seen a lot of arguments for people wanting more energy. And they'll say, well, you don't need more energy because if you play the game, we'll give you more energy, right? They're basically trying to say, in order for you to get the rewards, you have to play the game. So you earn to play. The only problem is they've kind of made the model of well, you can't play the game unless you earn, right? So if you want to play Arena, the only way you can compete in Arena is if you have got the shards and the souls on your Taras or your Marichka or your Ultimate Death Knight or your Sun Wukong if you're using him, or your the Leorius. You need those things to play. So you have to then essentially earn those champions to play them. So they've created like this weird model where, well, they'll give you loads of stuff, but in order for you to get that stuff, you have to have also already got the stuff. It's kind of like a weird paradoxical scenario, certainly in my head. But what I wanted to work out is there justification from the soul system alone for this earn to play model? Do you actually earn enough outside of these 2 farming events that justifies that argument? So what I did is I actually created a tracking log of every single place that I had from the last month to get soul related materials. So at the start of the 31st of August, I started doing Iron Twins every single day. I do Iron Twins on a Sunday with both sets of keys, so I'll buy the gems. So I'm doing 12 keys of Iron Twins on Sundays, 6 on every single other day. I'm looking at all the different events. I'm tracking and recording every single source of every single soul coin, essence, and soul stone that you could get in the game for a period of 30 days, so that we got a good estimation of the reality of playing the game, this earn to play model. I've also put a log in here of things that I skipped because I didn't want to go for it, right? There's lots of things in here in terms of summoning that maybe, or champion training that I decided to opt out of because I didn't want to push myself to actually try and get them because they were too expensive. That way we can also create a filter here to go, okay, if I exclude the more expensive stuff, how much do I get? You know, how much of this is contributed in areas where summoning is involved, for example. So the way that it's structured here, we've got types of rewards, which is coin, essence, or stones. Then we've got the tier, the quality, is it the mortal, immortal, or eternal? We've got the quantity that we get, and then we've got the source category. So are we getting it from an event or a tournament? Are we getting it from Hydra? Are we getting it from Iron Twins? Is it the login reward, or is it from a summoning-based event, a summoning-based system? Then I've actually got categorizations here, so if we wanted to, we can drill down specifically, you know, where and when we're getting it in those specific subcategories. I've got how many keys I've used and if I skip them. So what we can do is we can essentially put it into a pivot chart. So this is a very basic way of looking at what we're getting. Obviously, there's some context here that we need to drill down into. You can ignore the kind of grand totals. They're a little bit more awkward. But if we kind of look at it here, we can see, okay, across all of the 30 days, how many coins did we get? Well, we got the mortal coins here. We got 44,000 mortal coins. 44,000. So that means we've got 44.7 mortal coins. Now, obviously, when we were looking at the math in terms of Iron Twins and Hydra, I was translating the Hydra stones into coin. So that's why this number is a lot lower than that, because we would be looking at these stones as part of this mortal soul coin here. We're not translating the cost here. We're just looking at purely the coin itself. How much did we get? We got 44,000. We got 3,400 immortal, and we got 700 eternal coins from different various sources. Now, you can't get the eternal or the immortal stone coins from anywhere other than events, to my knowledge. You can only get the mortal from Iron Twins. You don't get immortal or eternal. So pretty much this number here is going to be almost 100% exclusively in events. So in total, we've got those coins. Essence wise, we got 53 eternal essence and 108 immortal essence. This number was quite high. I was surprised how much we actually got here. This is a very high number. Then stones, we get 63 immortal soul stones, which is the tier 1, 7 immortal, and there's also 2 eternal stones that they've given out. I'm not really sure why there's a blank column here. We've probably got something included. So how do we want to break this down? Well, the easiest way is visualize. Everyone loves a visualization. Let's have a look at coins, right? This is the total coins irrespective of their tier that we get. So you can see pretty much Iron Twins is responsible for the majority of the soul coin that you will generate in the game, and then events and summoning make up a quarter. So the argument that you have to, that you're getting a lot of rewards by playing the game, well, actually is only about a quarter. Now, if we actually look at things in terms of summoning is contributing 5% of the coin, events are contributing 20%, right? So summoning are specifically Summon Rush and Champion Chase based events. Now, if we were to drill this down into a little bit further, now we can look at Iron Twin specifically, and we can see that basically Sunday contributes 40% of my total coin. Now, I am buying the gems, so I am getting twice the amount of keys, but it does kind of show the value of Void specifically over Iron Twin. So for 6 days on 6 keys, that is around about 61% versus 1 day of 12 keys on Void, which makes you wonder if they should actually give the Void rates to every single day of the week, which is something I've asked for a very long time. Now let's have a look at the Essence drop rates, right? So that was coin. That's how much we can farm from coin. Now, when we look at Essence, we can see that Iron Twins is contributing around about 60% of our total Essence gain. And then we get 22% from the event. So the event's around about 20% still. But now summoning for Essence is significantly higher. It's at 20% nearly, where before it was only at 5%. And then when we look at the stones, we can see that summoning is about 8%. The daily login reward that they added contributes about 8% of your total stones that you get in a month now, which is actually quite big. And then the events are giving 28% and Hydra is giving over half. So pretty much Hydra is contributing half of your total stones. The Iron Twins is contributing around about 75% of your total coin. And Essences is then coming specifically around about this kind of balance here, where about 59% is Iron Twins. The rest is from in-game events. So yes, they have added a lot more into the system in terms of earning stuff in the game. So the more you play, the more you earn stuff. Now let's take a little bit of an example and look at the stuff that I skipped. So the things that I pretty much skipped here were, things that were on an extreme level. So this Immortal Soulstone is appearing at like 6,000 point on Dungeon Divers. I skipped that one there. I also skipped the Tag Team Tournament because I find it very boring. So I skipped the Eternal Essence and this Mortal Soulstone here. And then there was a big champion chase where they had loads and loads of Essence. I skipped it all because I wasn't going to summon shards on it. And they also had this champion training event here as well, which I think I skipped that Mortal Soulstone because I was exhausted from champion training events. You can see I skipped this one here because I knew that there was a fusion coming up and I'd probably have to do 2 sets of champion training. And I've run out of champions to train. So we skipped all of this as well. There was a Hero's Path as well that had an Eternal Essence on it. I skipped that one as well. And I also, again, as you can see, I skipped the Immortal Essence from this Tag Team Tournament here as well. And we also skipped today's Summon Rush. Right, today's Summon Rush has got an Eternal Soulstone and an Eternal Essence in it, but it's going to be at such a high level, I'm not going to be able to summon to that stone. So I've decided to skip that. I may be able to get the Eternal Essence coin, but even that is a bit of a push, so this might end up being skipped as well. So if I take that into consideration and exclude the items that I've skipped, how much does it change? So if we kind of look here, we've got 53 and 108 Essence, we've got 2, 7, and 63, and we've got 700, 340, right? That's what we've got as a comparison. If we skip that, the Essence drops significantly. We don't get any Eternal Soulstones. We lose about 3 Mortal Soulstones, so that's not really impacted. We lose about 2 Immortal Soulstones, and we lose 2 Eternal. The Essence is the biggest impact here. The Essence takes an absolute kicking. If I put it back in so we can see as a comparison, the Essence goes from 53,108 to 2888. So that's a very big chunk. So Essence is very highly valued at a top scale of events. We do lose a few Eternal and Immortal Mortal Stones as well. You can see we went from 700 down to 200, but you can see that the Mortal Stones, the Immortal coins are pretty accessible. So what does this actually mean? What does this translate to in terms of accessibility? Well, the other system was saying we would get about 71, 72 stones. Well, we're actually getting 60 pure stones from events and Hydra on top of 43. So in essence, if we translate that, it's around about 103,000 Mortal Soul coins, which is about 30% more than just Iron Twins and Hydra. That's what the events are coming into. And I think that kind of is demonstrated here. We look, the events are either taking a good 40% chunk, or in the essence of coins, it's taking a good 25%, and the stones are taking a good sort of 44%, 45% here, because obviously there's like a summoning event. The login rewards are a big impact here. So have they actually made it earn to play or play to earn? It's hard to say whether actually that's enough. They've basically put around about 25% of your soul and awakening stuff into the game from events and summoning. But the summoning is also quite a big chunk. It's around about 10% overall that you're getting from it. Does this mean that they shouldn't rebalance Iron Twins to give you more rewards? Absolutely not. I think even though when we look at this coin, we could say, well, Iron Twins is giving you the majority of your mortal. This is only mortal coins, right? If we were to add some filters to this context to basically take out sort of the immortal coins, let me just kind of show you how much mortal coin is contributing here. So if we only look at mortal soul coins, which is all you can get from Iron Twins, you can see that pretty much the events don't give you an awful lot. You're getting around about 19%, it's 81% here. And obviously you do not get any other coins from from the Iron Twins other than those. So you can see that we're getting, pretty much it's split 50-50. You get, of the sort of Eternal and Immortal coins, it's split half and half. So the majority is kind of like Iron Twins. And then when you get to these two tiers, Summoning is taking half the amount of Earn to Play, which is obviously pay to play to some extent with Summoning, because half the time you don't have many shards to be able to hit the markers that is required for a lot of this tier. If we look at Immortal tends to be much more favored in events versus Eternal, which is much more favored to be in Summoning, exclusively Summoning. Eternal is only available in Summoning by the looks of it. So the Eternal Stone, the coin which is what you need for the tier 3, is exclusively in Summoning. If we have a look at the stones here, and if we say, okay, where are we getting all of our mortal stones? 64% of your mortal soul stones, your tier 1 stones, are coming from Hydra, 22% are from events, 6% Summoning, and 8% from login rewards. But when we start going up the quality, Summoning becomes of a bit more thing. So there is actually no Immortal soul stones that I've collected this month that have come from a Summoning event, exclusively events and login rewards. And then the Eternal soul coins are almost always in Summoning. So what we're seeing as a trend is the tier 3 tiers always tied behind shards, which is the pay to win model. Whereas the tier 1s and the tier 2 is what they are giving you as earn to play. So you're getting small amounts. So I will make this Google Sheet available on Google Sheets. You can make a copy, you can recontextualize it, make your own visuals, you can make your own judgments. It's 30 days of real-time evidence that I've collected every single day, that I've allocated, of what I've skipped, that I've looked at, so we can actually get a good impression of how many stones you get. So if this rate continues and we say, okay, well, let's apply this to a 6-month window. How many tier 1 stones are we going to get in a 6-month window? Well, we're getting 60 here on all the things that I've acquired. If we just ignore the tier 2 and the tier 3, and we're getting sort of 43,000 here. So we're getting around about 103 stones a month. So if we're getting 103 stones a month and we apply that to a 6 marker, we're getting 618 stones in a 6-month window. Now, predominantly, is about a 97% chance that whenever you open a tier 1 stone, it's going to be a rank 1 and a rank 3. So if we're looking at what's the opportunity from these 618 that I get something valuable, which is probably something like 5 and 6 star, right? That's probably where I'm looking at. Let me get the exact percentage. So it's a 0.72% chance that you're going to get from a tier 1 stone either a rank 5 or a rank 6 epic, legendary, or mythical soul, right? Because I've excluded the rares because most people don't want the rares. So if we know it's a 0.72% and we have 618 tier 1s, it's basically telling me in a 6-month window, you can get, and this is random, 4.4 rank 5 or rank 6 epic, legendary, and mythical champions from the tier 1 stones exclusively. And that is a random champion, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to be a champion that you can use. That could be a rank 5 Galkut, right? It could be a rank thing. That is what they're basically telling you in this earn to play. If you play the game, you're going to earn enough tier 1 stones that you're going to get 4.5 tier 5 or tier 6 epics. Now, obviously, we could translate that and say, well, okay, 618 is going to give me on average 97% 1 to 3 star, right? It's not exactly an exact science here. I think my follow-up video now will actually go into looking at, okay, that's the exact from just summoning. Now, if we have a look at how much of that we sell, how much can we then reinvest back into more stones that we can then summon, and how many in total would that be? But certainly in terms of this earn to play model, I can see that they've made an effort to push about 25% more economy into the soul system from the events and summoning. So I still think that Iron Twins needs to be improved. I would prefer to get Essence on side normal coins, so that when you get a mortal coin, you have a chance to get Essence as a bonus reward. We do get a good proportion of Essence from Iron Twins, about 60%, but I still feel like as that is the primary dungeon for souls, it should give you more than what we're currently getting here. And clearly Essence in a summoning scenario is very, very popular. We can kind of see here that if we explore this down here, we can see how much we're getting in different places, where it's coming from as well. So you can see if I update this pivot here, we can have a look exactly where the Essence is coming from. You can see I've got 10 Immortal, 68 and 28, and then 10 from here. But this is obviously if I'd skipped it. If I hadn't skipped it, then a lot more of the Eternal Essence comes out from outside of Iron Twins. But it is giving us a good amount, I guess. That's the way to look at it. So there you go, guys. Look, it's a bit of a sort of a messy video here, kind of going through lots of different stats and numbers. What I wanted to do was collect the information and then try to summarize it to kind of go, how much does Iron Twins and events kind of factor? I think what we've kind of summarized here is events are contributing somewhere in the region of 20 to 30% of your total souls that you get in the game. And if you do everything efficiently without actually whaling, you should walk away with about 618 or 600 souls every single 6 months. So about 100 tier 1 stones every single month. And that might be a pretty good acquisition rate. If we think in some of the soul chases and everything, 100 will probably get you about a third of the way through a tournament. So if you save up your stones in 1 month, then you probably get a third of the tournament done. You'll probably have to save 3 months worth of rewards, I would imagine, to be able to get one of these soul chases done. I think I'll do a follow-up video actually looking at trying to analyze the selling value or the resale cost and the resale value and how much that influences the numbers as well, because if you're an avid like non-hoarder and like me, you might sell pretty much all of that 680, and then that is probably going to give you a lot of bonus immortal coins, and you might choose to convert that for essence, or you might choose to convert that into more stones and then more odds to summon. There you go, guys. Let me know in the comments below, do you feel like the essence system where you earn to play and you get all this from events is good enough? Would you like to see more of it? Do you still do Iron Twins, or have you skipped it out? I actually think if you care about getting Awakening, Iron Twins is worth doing every day. You can see it's giving you a huge percentage. It is still representing about 60 to 70% of the overall acquisition rates. If you didn't have these numbers, if we basically take out Iron Twins here as a good example, if we take Iron Twins out as a source, so you cannot get source from Iron Twins, the numbers will change dramatically. If I take Iron Twins out here, you lose about 40 stones a day. You lose all of your essence, basically. All of the essence gets ripped out of there, about 60% of the stones, 60% of the essence. So Iron Twins is still worth it. Obviously, Hydra is 100% worth it as well. If you get that hard, brutal, and nightmare double chest going, they contribute more than Iron Twins from a stone perspective. So you need them both in tandem. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think about all this math. I will put this spreadsheet up on Google Sheets. I'll put it in the video description, and I'll put it in the pinned comment so you can grab this sheet, make a copy, mess around with your own pivots, do what you want with it, figure out how you want to visualize it, and play around with the numbers. But I just wanted to collect this information and give it out to the community. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.